Hey class, how you doing? My name is Joshua Edwards and I am a history professor here at GCU. I'm so excited to teach you. A little bit about me. My undergrad is in worship studies, so it's like a theology and a music degree put together. After that, I was fortunate enough to find a job at a private school. I was an elementary teacher for about 3 years. Finally, was able to transition to higher ed, finishing my master's in history with an emphasis in higher education, and I am so happy to be here. So a little bit of this video is us kind of outline what communication looks like in the class and what I am expecting for our communication in the class. And if you're asking why we are outlining these communication channels, it's very simple. It's two reasons. One, as a professor, I need to figure out how I can best deliver communication effectively. And as well, if I'm clearly laying out the expectations and resources, it should help take away any of the confusion and allow us to focus on the content in the course. So there's going to be three main ways that we effectively have communication and foster it in our course. So the first one is that I love discussion on everything about the subject matter. So in class, out of class. So the first channel is me. You have questions in the class, I will facilitate times. We'll go on tangents if we need to be, always bringing it back, of course, to the topic. But discussion. You talk, I talk, we listen, we grow. That is one of the best ways of learning. So I'm going to for sure have a lot of emphasis on discussion. In class, out of class, discussion. If you get nothing away from this, history is a giant discussion. So let's continue that discussion. So the first one is discussion between you and me. The second one is now discussion between you as a class, you as students. So I want to make sure that I foster that discussion with you guys. So how that looks is I will put you in groups about 3 or 5. And then in the beginning of the class, I will pose a question, either if this is online or posted on the online board, or in class session, I will post it on the whiteboard. And it will be a topic or a discussion about the topic we're talking about that day. And I want you guys to discuss. You guys are going to discuss in your groups. You're going to talk through the material. And as you guys kind of reach a general consensus of where you lie or where you think you want to lie, we'll bring it back into the actual lecture discussion. And this is important because it serves two purposes. One, that it starts to take you from where you were, bring you onto the topic at hand. And two, it helps you engage with your classmates, especially if you're a verbal processor like me, on the material, getting you ready even further for the course itself. And the last avenue that we're going to use, or the third strategy we're going to use, is using the online portal. So we're going to have all the discussion, all the topics, and how they flow into each other on the actual portal, so you can see each week, hey, this is what to expect, or hey, this is what we're doing in 3 weeks, and these are the historical topics within, of course, the historical period we're looking at, and how they flow into each other. So you can see that the class is thinking about the end in mind. What are the goals? What are the skills? What are the knowledge bed that you need to have? And this is how we are working our way to that. So this is how we're taking our steps to that end objective. Of course, conflict is always ensuing with human beings. So let's talk about some of the places that we could have conflict in our communication. All right, so one thing that could happen is you have an expectation on your assignment, it gets graded, it did not meet your expectation, things were not communicated clearly, and so it cost you points. In your discussion groups, maybe something's happening, instead of progressing towards the goal or the question, you guys are actually regressing. And maybe as we go further into the course, midterms, finals, what happens? You get overwhelmed. Now the communication that we're working in the beginning is not working now. And this all might lead to the wonderful world of conflict. Now, conflict is not a bad thing, but we need to handle it healthily. And so I'm going to talk about how we can maybe de-escalate or get past healthily the conflict that might arise. And so if any of these things arise, let's just remember 2 things. One, we're human, okay? We have emotions, we have passions, we have differences, we see things differently. And when all those combined, when we come together, there will be, and most likely will always be, conflict. That's not bad, because conflict allows us to go through it and allows us all to grow. We're either going to grow or we're not going to grow. So let's choose to take the growth path. So if we do have conflict, I ask for 2 things. First, come talk to me. I want to hear your perspective, okay? I'm a teacher. I have one perspective. I'm teaching from that perspective. You are a student. You are receiving that end of perspective, and that might bring conflict, and that's okay. Come talk to me. I don't want to hide behind my grades. I'm not hiding behind my office doors. I want to have a genuine conversation. And then I asked for that in the second aspect. If I am listening to you, I had asked that you would listen to me then if I have anything to retort or to say back to that, to whatever you have to bring up. I don't want to have an argument. I don't think, especially in an academic environment right now, that an argument is going to help us come to an agreement or somewhere that we can compromise. I think it's going to pigeonhole us in our different sides. But if you can have a discussion, right, where I am listening to you and your grievances or your conflict, and then I am able to say something back and you're able to listen to me and my grievances, and we can come now to a understanding of each other. We can reach a compromise, and that's how you can effectively and healthfully move through conflict. So I appreciate your time, and I am excited for you to take this course. Know that, these are some basic aspects of communication, ways to look at communication and how to navigate conflict like we just talked about, and as well where to look at the different avenues and how we will use communication avenues in our course. But honestly, when you put those all together, it's really for your success. And if you can take that healthy conflict and learn how to move through that, take those moments of conflict and grow, and as well take the avenues of group discussion, utilizing your professor, talking to them, and seeing how the course is developing and we're reaching our objectives, I think you're going to do wonderful in this class, and I'm excited to see where you grow. So I am Joshua Edwards. I am your history professor, and I appreciate your time. You have a good one. Goodbye.